Okay, and welcome back. I'm sorry that was, we had to abruptly stop there, but let's continue. 6.2 part 2. We were talking about the symbol here, which means how to count the number of arrangements in X successes in N trials. Meaning, how many times does this occur, you know? So here, notice that the number 0.6 has the exponent of 2, which is also the number of successes. And then we have the failure probability, which we just discussed, 1 minus p, which and the exponent of 1, which is the number of failures, which is number of total trials minus successes. So again, number of failures is equal to number of total trials minus the number of successes, which makes sense. And this is the probability of a failure. Okay. All right. So in general, here's the formula, and don't be scared about it. Don't be scared by it. In order to understand this notation here, combination of n choose x, we need to introduce a mathematical symbol called the factorial. Now, factorial, it's basically an exclamation mark. And what that means is you take the number and then you multiply that by the number before it and by the number before it until you reach 1. So let's say factorial, 4 factorial would be 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, which is equal to 24, and so on. And so let's see if it, oh, no, let's go back here. So here, the formula for combinations is n factorial over x factorial, and then the difference in n minus x factorial. So it looks crazy right now, but in application, it's really not. Remember again that n is number of trials. That's supposed to say trials. X is number of successes. And then, you know, n factorial. So factorial is just multiply that number by the one before it, by the one before it, till you reach to the number 1. And again, a little p represents the probability of success. Oh, geez, what happened? Success, and then Q, or 1 minus P, is probability of failure. Okay. Now, we're going to be using this a couple times, but let me give you some encouragement, okay? For those of you that are there going, OMG, this is so crazy looking. So don't be scared, because I'm going to go through 3 ways and how to calculate probabilities. And this is the first and what you might consider the most computational way. The second way includes tables. And then the third way, which is the one that you probably will stick with, has to do with using the calculator. Okay, so in the end, yes, you will learn the easiest calculator method. And yes, it's okay to use that throughout the course, so it's fine. But we do need to go through this at least once so that you know how to do it. Okay, let's continue. What happened here? Okay. Okay, objective 3. So we're going to go through hand computation. So the Pew Research Center recently reported that approximately 30% of internet users in the United States use the image sharing website Pinterest. Suppose a simple random sample of 15 users is taken. Use the binomial probability distribution to find the following probabilities. Find the probability that exactly 4 of the sampled people use Pinterest. Find the probability that fewer than 3 of the people use Pinterest. Find the probability that more than 1 person uses Pinterest. That's this one. And then find the probability that the number of people who use Pinterest is between 1 and 4, but it's inclusive, meaning let's include 1 and let's include 4. Okay, so I'm just showing you a shorthand way of writing these sentences is get familiar with this notation because we're going to see it a lot. Okay, so again, in this last example, it was 30%. So percentage of success is 0.3. And then the total number of trials is 15. So we're going to find the probability that exactly 4 of the sample people use Pinterest. So we're going to use the formula P of X is equal to combination N, choose X times the probability of success raised to the X power times the probability of failure raised to the N minus X power. So that's all that. Okay, so we have what we need. We have P, we have X, we have N, right? Because here X equals 4. So just even to use this, we have N is 15, X is equal to 4, little p is 0.3. And then, yes, so that's all we need. And then also the formula for combination is N factorial over X factorial and the difference between N minus X factorial. So here we go. So that's this right here. Okay, so we're going to have, we have 15 trials and we're choosing 4, so exactly 4. And then the probability of that occurring is 0.3 raised to the power 4. So we're just plugging in stuff, yeah? So everywhere I see an X here, I put a 4. And then everywhere I see an N, I place 15. And everywhere I see a P, I use 0.3.
Yes.
So then the formula for combinations is here, N is 15. X is 4, 15 minus 4 factorial. Okay, you can enter this in your calculator. There is a calculator key that's factorial, and that key, let's see if I can quickly let's tell you where it is. It's under math, and then it's under problem. So to find the factorial key in a calculator for TI-84, it's you hit the math key, and then you scroll over to PRB, and then you'll see on the list, it's number 4 is the factorial option, okay? So you can enter this into your calculator. May I suggest please just use parentheses for the top and the bottom, well, for the bottom at least. So yeah, or maybe, make sure you put this whole thing in parentheses so that way it doesn't confuse it with anything else. Okay, so there's that. So your probability that exactly 4 of the sample people use Pinterest is 0.219 or 21.9%. Okay. What about the probability that fewer of the 3 of the people use Pinterest? So that means probability that fewer than 3 of the people use Pinterest. Okay, so the possible numbers of people that are fewer than 3, so you either have 0, 1, and 2. So it's either 0 or 1 or 2. So probability of X less than 3. So remember that there's only 3 times. So that would be probability of 0 plus probability of 1 plus probability of 2. Okay, and that's what all this is. Okay, so when you plug that in, for probability of 0, you plug all this in. Probability of 1, so this is probability of 0. Probability of 1 is all this, P of 1. And then probability of 2 is right here. So some computations later, you'll get that. And some calculators actually have this combination function in their calculator also, so that might make it easier. And actually, it's right above the factorial, so you could use that too. So same thing. So math, you would do math. Let's see if I think I can show you really quickly. Let's see here. I have this calculator I can show you. Okay, let's see. Yes, here it is. So then you would go math. It's okay. Math, and then prob, and then N, choose R. So then N would be, 15, and then the other one was whatever it was, 0, I guess. And then enter, and then that's your answer. Okay, so again, it was math. Make sure that your highlighting PRB, and then you have N choose R right there, okay? All right, so back to where we where were we? We were 6.2, yeah, okay. So that's all of this here, and you can plug that into your calculator, and then you would get 0.127, okay? The next one is find the probability that more than one person. So how does that work? So we could use the rule of complements, because more than one would be P of 2, P of 3, P4, P of 5, blah, 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 all the way up to 15. And we don't really want that, right? So if we know by definition of probability distribution, since we can add all the probabilities up and should equal 100%, okay? So since we do that, if instead of going through and going, okay, P of, more than one, so it's 100% or just one, right? In decimal form is P of 1, P of 2, P of 3, P of 15. So instead of calculating all these separately, if we want more than one, we want all of these, right? 2 through 15. So if I subtracted both sides by this, then I would have 1 minus, and then P of 0 plus P of 2, plus P of 1, sorry. And that's going to equal this whole P of 2 plus P of 3 plus, and then P of 15. So this is what we want, okay? So this is a lot easier to calculate, and that's where the rule of complements comes in. So first thing we find is P of 0 or 1. Okay, so we just enter it. This is P of 0. This is P of 1. Okay, we find that first. That's 0.035, and then P of more than 1 would be 1 minus this, okay? So that's how you would get 0.965. Okay, now the last one is find the probability that the number of people who use Pinterest is between 1 and 4 inclusive, okay? So then that just means 1, 2, 3, or 4. So, P of 1 plus P of 2. We found that earlier, P of 3 right here, and then P of 4 right here, okay? And you can hit pause and look at it and try to enter this into your calculator so you can practice this if you want to use hand computations, which is kind of silly because you're going to use a calculator anyway. But anyway, there it is. And let's do one using tables. So it's the same problem. So imagine we're doing the same problem. Okay, now if you want to find, we have this table. And if you want to find the way the probability table is here, we have N15, and here's the number of successes. And we want to know where 4 and probability of 30 line up, and see P of 4 is equal to 0.219. That's very convenient, right? So on the left-hand side, we see the number of successes. On the top, we use the actual probability of successes, and then where they both meet is P of 4. So the table's super easy too. Okay, so then let's say fewer than 3. So you would have to do P of 0 plus P of 1 plus P of 2. So then using the table, P of 0 is right here. P of 1 is right here. P of 2 is right here because they all match, right? They line up. And so that you would just have to add these three together, and that's 0.128. So this is nicer. So then the rule of complements, again, finding the probability of 0 or 1 first is, here it is, 0, 1, 0, 1. And then we add that together, subtract from 1, and you get 0.964 or 96.4%. And then finally, between 1 and 4 inclusive is just all these, right? Between 1 and 4. So you just add all those together. So then finally, this is the one that, I prefer, is using your TI-84 Plus if you have it, or you can download the calculator that I have. It's, it's called G.Dot Calculator, I think, or you can Apple Store, Google, or if you want to use a laptop calculator, like a computer calculator, you can Google TI-84 online calculator. And if you have a Mac, which is what I have, I use the TI 84, the official Texas Instruments one. It does give you a free trial for 90 days, so that's super nice. So you can try that. All right, so here we go. In the TI-84 Plus, you have two primary commands. If you're doing either binom PDF, so that's when you're doing like probability of X equals a certain number. And binom CDF is if you're doing probability of X less than or equal to some number, right? Little number. Oh, they use little x, but you know, because they use big X and little x. That's fine. But that's basically it. This was what number. Okay, so how do we get these commands? When you need to hit second and vars, and then you're going to see this menu. So let me show you. So when you have your calculator, let's see here. I want to find the nicer one. Where is it? Oh, it's not in here. Okay, fine. So then you would go here, you would go second, and then you would hit vars, which is distribution, and then you would go to binom PDF, and then you would have to enter trials, probability, and then the number that we're talking about. Okay, so back to where we were. Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and do some. So to compute the probability that the random variable X equals the value given these parameters, you use this. This is number of trials. This is probability of success. And this is, let's say, you know, whatever the number you're trying to find, or the value that you're looking for, the exact value. This is to find a P of X equals some value. Okay, now if you want to do CDF, right, it's the same thing, same NPX mean the same thing, except that now you're just doing less than or equal to little x, you know, or value. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and do these problems now. So here, same situation, find the probability that exactly 4. So all we have to do is type in binom PDF, enter 15. So because n is 15, p is 0.3, and then x is equal to 4. And then that's how you'll get 0.219, the exact same thing. So see how much easier using the calculator is. I know, you're like, why did you put me through the other thing? I know, you just had to show it or see it. Okay, so that's that. So this is to find probability x equals 4. So again, x equals 4. We're going to use binom PDF. And then you have 15.3 and then 4. Let me go ahead and show you on the calculator. 15.34. So it's binom PDF. So again, let me start over so you can see. Oopsies. Quit this or clear this. Okay. Second, vars. Okay. Binom PDF is scroll down to binom PDF. Okay. Then it was 15, comma, 0.3, 30%, comma, and we were looking for 4. Then hit the, close parentheses and then enter. Oh, oops. This is the free app, not the, sorry. I have to download the other app. Anyway, that's how you enter it. Okay, so, yeah, so that's 0.12, not 0.219. So then fewer than 3, you would just use binom CDF, okay? So probability that x is fewer than 3. So remember, since it's fewer than 3, we would stop at 2. So that would be binom CDF, because that would be less than or equal to 2. So 15.3, and then we have to make sure that this is 2. Why is it not 3? Because this represents, this is equal to P of probability of x equal to 2, right? 0, 1, 2. So that's why. So that's what this is here, okay? Yeah, and we get the same thing. More than one person, you can do rule of complements. That would be 0 or 1. So we would use binom CDF. So probability of x, being 0 or 1, or x less than or equal to 1, that's going to be, so that's the same as saying probability of 0 or x equal 1. That's going to be binom CDF, and that's 15.3 and then 1. So then you do, to find more than 1, is going to be probability of more than 1. That's going to be 1 or fewer, 1 minus probability of x less than or equal to 1. Okay, so that's where you have here 1 minus answer, or you can just go ahead and type in 1 minus binom CDF and all that. So you get the same answer. Okay, now inclusive is a little different because you can use binom CDF. When you're doing binom CDF you're basically doing this between this. You're basically doing binom P of x less than or equal to 4 minus x or less than, less than 0. So this would be 3. Wait, 4 or less. Oh, yeah, sorry. This is a 4, and then this would be 0 because you're including 1. Okay, so we would enter, and why do we subtract this? Because P of x less than or equal to 4, remember that that's P of 0 plus P of 1 plus P of 2 plus P of 3 plus P of 4, right? That's what that represents. 4, right? So when it's numbered like that, I also write this, so it's the same thing, just in case you were curious and like, what the heck? Okay, so, but we want in this problem between 1 and 4, so we need to subtract this. Okay, so the probability of between 1 and 4, okay, is the probability of x less than or equal to 4 minus the probability of x less than or equal to 0, because we're taking this, or x equals 0. So that's why we do binom CDF of 4 and then binom PDF, this is equals 0 here. Okay. Yep. Okay. And then the final thing we're learning in this video is the mean and variance of a binomial random variable. So let's say you have a binomial random variable with n trials and success p, then the mean of the random variable is depicted by this mu sub x here, and that's just n times p. And then the variance is np times 1 minus p, and then the standard deviation is the square root of the variance. Okay, so let's go ahead and do an example. The probability that a new car of a certain model will require repairs during the warranty period is 15%. A particular dealership sells 80 such cars. Let X be the number that will require repairs during the warranty period. Okay, find the mean and standard deviation of X. So the mean is NP, so just multiply, that's 12. That's nice. And then the standard deviation is the square root of NP times 1 minus P. So NP is 80 times 0.15, and then 1 minus P is 1 minus 0.15, or 15 hundredths. And when you enter that in the calculator, you'll get 3.194. Okay, so what does that mean? That means in the long run, 12 out of every 100 cars will require repairs, okay? So the standard deviation measures the spread in the distribution of the number of cars that will require repairs. So what do you need to know? How to determine whether something is binomial or not, meaning, success or fail, right? You saw the conditions before, the notation, how to determine the probability distribution, how to compute, and we went over 3 ways how to do that, and then how to compute the mean and variance of a binomial random variable. Okay, and that's it for 6.2. There's your super fun homework. Good luck. Happy studying, and I will see you in the next video, and then I'll see you in class.